Before we dive into today's incredible episode, let's take a moment together. There is nothing better than settling in, maybe with a cup of tea, just like in our African tradition, to soak in stories that inspire and empower. So grab your favorite drink and fasten your seatbelts and get ready for an unforgettable conversation with our guest today. And here's the thing. Here at Raw, we cannot do this without you. By clicking subscribe, not only are you joining a community, not only are you subscribing to a channel, but you are becoming a key part of a movement that's reshaping the global narrative about African excellence. We are on a mission to inspire 100,000 passionate individuals that believe in the power of African innovation, culture, and leadership. And guess what? You can help us get there by spending only 2 seconds of your time. 1. Subscribe. 2. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want to take it a step further, visit our website and consider partnering with us. Your support fuels our journey and empowers the next generation of leaders. Together, we are changing the world. Let's roar. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are thrilled to have a special guest on the Roar, the award-winning photographer Walter Keys. Hailing from Kampala, Uganda, Walter has transformed how we see and celebrate African culture through his lens. Did you know that was not his first career choice? His journey is as inspiring as his breathtaking images. Get ready to dive into his world of artistry, storytelling, and the passion for preserving heritage. Welcome, Walter.
Thank you.
How did you spend the new year?
Oh, Happy New Year. I actually spent the year, was mostly at home with the kids.
Are you someone to set goals for yourself for the new year?
Well, I for one believe goals are always there. I'm one to look back at, have I been able to accomplish what I said to do the previous year first? Okay. And things that have not yet been accomplished, I'll firstly embark on those. And then, because already there was a plan, there were already things that were already in motion. So the idea is to first complete this, then you go to the next. Because, I mean, it is more like you're building a car. There are parts that you need to fit in first so you can, finish or complete. For me, I feel like always like a continuous project, like one big mosaic. Keep pulling threads together. You already have the blueprint. So the idea is to just continue building onto that blueprint. The idea of setting new goals, not exactly my thing. But as regards to work, the vision is already set. All we have to do is look at the plan. How far have we gone with it? And then if we have executed, said 90%, then we sit down again and then we build further on that and then create another 90% work.
Like in Africa, our names usually have a meaning or a story to them. Does your name Kabuye have a meaning to it or a story behind how you got this name?
Well, we would have to ask my parents because they are the ones that gave it. I honestly don't know why they chose that, but as a people in my culture is when you give birth to a child, you're supposed to take them to your father, and then your father gets to select the name that they give to the child. That's the name they gave to me. I know who we are as a people. I don't know what the name means. Say in different languages, it means a stone, a rock. In my language, I don't exactly know what it means. But when you go to Western Uganda, it means like a rock or a small stone, depending on.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
And so, speaking of where you grew up, you say you grew up in Western Uganda, or where exactly?
No, I actually grew up in Central Uganda. I grew up in
Entebbe.
Entebbe. Yeah. Yeah.
And how was
Next
it
to the
like
airport.
growing up in Entebbe?
Yeah. Now, growing up in Entebbe was actually fun for me because surrounded by like different tribes. I think at the time, Entebbe was once the
I
capital
remember.
city of had a lot of people with various living in there. We have areas that are named after a group of people who live there. Like for example, there is a place where a lot of Rwandese people
Yeah.
stayed, Banyarwanda, and then the area is
Interesting.
Kinyarwanda. Like you going to yes. And then there's a place where they had a lot of Batoro staying, and then they called that place Chitoro. You get so like those areas had like various people.
I have heard of
Yeah, if you've heard of that
Chitoro.
name, that's the if you
I did not know that
yes,
was
that's
the
the
origin of
background.
that name.
That's the origin of
Okay.
that name. Is that lots of Batoro used to live there. So all these various, there are like various places. Eh, I'm going to Muchifumbira, whatever. So there were a lot of Bira that live there. Yeah,
How was Walter as a
I,
student?
I, I never I never got suspended. I never got expelled. So I believe I was compliant to the rules.
But could anyone
Yeah.
see, for example, in your childhood that you were going to take an art form in the future? Were you creative even as a child, or someone couldn't see that when you were still a child?
I think it came along when I was in. That's where it was more
Mm.
like visible because it's like a lot of things to do with a lot of things to do with painting, a lot of things to do with anything that really was drawing, all those things, right? So it really came out a lot more in but also a love for
Mm.
music. So I was always in all those school plays and all those things.
You
So
did break
yeah,
dance, Walter? Oh,
no
drama and
drama
dance.
and
Okay.
dance, like yeah, like traditional. I don't think I'm that flexible. Like
I was going to be impressed with that. And did anyone in your
yeah,
family have also an artistic talent in that? Did anyone in your family inspire you, or were you the first one to take this path into photography?
uncle who was a teacher in one of the schools, so the only person close to being an artist. But my brothers, my sisters, nothing.
And do you remember the first picture that you took and what it was, maybe?
Hmm. No, remember, but what I remember is my talent. My turning point. There was a picture I took. My turning point. By then, of course, I'd already taken a lot of, but there was a picture I took. My turning point.
Ah,
Tanzania. I was
nice.
in Zanzibar. I was by the I was
By the
by the
ocean.
ocean. So, and I took some pictures of the landscape. There was these old
Mm-hmm.
old doors, like boats there. There were those old doors, beautiful. I saw what I had a very little camera. Interesting, at that time we had gone to Zanzibar to do music, but I had moved with my camera. And I took a few pictures. So while I was there, after that moment, like I got an epiphany. I thought, see, I want all these guys going back to Uganda, coming back to do photography. I don't think I'm going to do music.
And what did they say? What was their reaction?
And it was funny. They laughed. Laughed. Yeah, because I was really good at what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play the piano, right? Gone to Dar es Salaam to like to watch like playing in various places. We played at festivals, we
Yeah.
played at different things, right? And so these guys found it
Yeah.
really awkward. I would give that for something I barely know just because I took a few
Right.
pictures by the beach. I think I'm going to be a photographer,
Right.
So yeah, but that's exactly what happens. Came back to Uganda, and that's how my journey
I'm just thinking about the journey
started.
that you took from music. Which kind of music were you doing, by the way?
Live band, we were doing well, okay. While in Zanzibar, we were doing mostly jazz music because we were with a saxophonist. So I was playing for a yeah, yeah,
So if you were
yeah.
not a photographer today, we would have been hearing some classical music from Walter.
you'd be hearing sounds of the legend, you know.
We would be side by side with what's the name of that legend saxophonist, the Ugandan? Isaiah
Oh,
Katumwa. You'd
Isaiah
have been
Kato.
side by side with him. Is there any chance in future of hearing
Yeah,
an album from you in this?
I'm not certain about that because when, life has its
Exactly.
twists and turns. Right now, say that we'll dive back into but who knows? Who knows how life goes, but
Mm.
I doubt. As of now, I doubt. Again, life has its
And it has
twists and
led you here. Everything
maybe,
has a
maybe,
reason for happening. And let's talk
yeah,
about this craft of yours. You are the Melanin King, and you have a signature style. At
yeah.
least for me, when I see your photos, I know even before I see who has signed it that this is water photography. And for me as a consumer, some of the elements that I notice are, for example, the sun or the earthy tones, reds, browns. And then there is a
Mhm.
kalesu. Yeah, I can call it a kalesu. Every African woman knows about that good cloth that you tie just above your boobs, and you can be very productive in this outfit and still look a bit sexy and good. And then also there is a bit of touch of
Yeah.
nature, the trees, the soil. It looks very organic and very peaceful.
Mhm.
For me, when I see that, instantly I
Yeah.
know who this picture is from. And I'm just curious from you, how did
Yeah.
you develop this style? Did it evolve over time?
Of course, it grew over time. That is for a fact. But then, sometimes you have to be cornered to kind of get to wherever you're supposed to get or to do whatever you're supposed to do to achieve it. I remember when I just finished school, I went into music. I was music, doing all this, love music and everything. Then this was it was even
Mm-hmm.
just weird. Interestingly, I was playing for like various bands. I had like 3 or 4
Playing
bands at the same.
keyboard.
Then on this one, yes, I was also like playing in church, and
Yeah.
then on this one day, all of these people, one by one, started to send me a message of, "See, we work with you again. Now you see the band has dissolved. Now we're no longer going to. Now you see we have stopped. We no longer have a gig at this point, so we no longer." And like for some reason, everything music like being taken away. It was a strange moment. Everything
Right.
music was being taken away. Then as I was there for camera and thought to myself,
Mm.
what can I work with? Where do I start? I can think of something. So the time I was still staying in Entebbe, we had a backyard that had all these crazy, crazy sports. It had this, in those like uh, backyard kitchens made out of wood. They just kind of put together, And so we had that backyard kitchen. So it used to also
Right.
be as a storage for all household calls. And while I was there, I was like, you know what? Because I was just out of school, so I couldn't afford to rent a studio, couldn't afford to rent a space. And then it's not one of those things where you go like, hey, dad, so now I have fashion and, I want you to kind of, uh, pull
Yeah.
together some money so I can start my life. Nothing. The guy had done his job, given me
Exactly.
a good education. I'm now a man. Yeah. So I look around and say, what do I have? Yeah. So I had a camera, I think a little camera. It was a Nikon
Right.
D3000 for those who really care, read about it or see it. It's one of those cameras where when you shoot, you take 3 shots consistently. You have to wait for it to buff low.
Otherwise, it is shaky. Eh?
No, like you have to wait for the pictures
Ah,
to load. Like, like there's that green light, wait for them to, like they're loading. And then after that's when they preview. It was so slow. It was so annoying. It was crazy, but that's what I had. So while I'm there, I look around backyard. So I just start to shoot with what I have. So I got a friend of mine. I'm like, hey man, first I have this idea. Let's just shoot. I mean, this is what cameras. Let's just start shooting. So we start to put things together. We start to make use of the backyard. As is time went on, this person got interested. Then they called another friend of theirs. Then another friend came. Then now other people, because I was posting on other people on Facebook. So in my head, I'm like, okay, this thing can actually be, made into a thing, right? So I had to share more work. Then I put a price to it now. I do this, but this rate. And lo and behold,
and here we are.
It kept on growing.
And it all was inspired and started with the environment around you in the backyard, with things that are next to you that you see. That's amazing. Did you have any people that inspired you when you were starting out, or even today, people who maybe other photographers that worked with you or that you looked up to?
To be honest, my work I'm not been inspired by photography or whatever. It has mostly been inspired by nature, the environment around.
Right.
All these other various things that pertain to life. Right. So I wouldn't say I have a photographer I looked up to or someone else. Like, it was mostly inspired by
what you see around you. And I find that makes so much sense, because again, when I first saw your pictures a few years ago, it was unlike anything that I had seen before, but something that you develop by your own self. So when we talk about Uganda, we have a lot of tribes, a lot of different cultures. Every tribe has its own language, its own traditions, its own clothing, its own songs. And I wonder, how important is it for you to be authentic to this tradition? Or do you take liberties to make sure that the photo comes out alive? Do you?
Well, I for one, in all true honesty, have the traditional look is there, and you cannot change how the Baganda dress, you cannot change how all these other people dress. Then you see, we are living in different times that it's a little bit not artistic to just depict things
The traditional
the way they are known, the traditional way. So what I have done is I've looked at what we have and then interpret it in my own way as an art, and make sure that it communicates not just to me as an artist, as an individual, but it communicates to a wide group of, in terms of age bracket, that someone who is a little bit older can look at it and like it, and also someone who is also younger will look at it and would want that. So what I do is just borrow different aspects from like different cultures in terms of things, activities that were done, things that used to bring people together, and those aspects that I dwell on kind of project the Africanicity.
It sounds to me like the way you approach the photography is a form of art. It's not just a click.
Absolutely. That's why we maintain the lasso look, the two-piece look, because the idea is we need to communicate, but at the same time keep the people drawn in.
And I think about so many beauty standards that we have across the world, and how do you manage to break away from the conventional beauty standards to capture the beauty of the person in front of you?
So here's the thing. I believe everyone is beautiful behind my lens. When you look at someone, you need to first appreciate them firstly before you shoot them. You need to first find them beautiful as an individual, right? And that way it is easy to bring the beauty out of them. And then a lot of people deal with a lot of insecurities, as regards with their body, as regards with a lot of things. So for me, when someone comes to me, it's like, hey, there is this and this imperfection about me. I want no, I tell them, no, don't worry. We shall work with it. And if it means covering it for you to be comfortable. We cover it so that you look beautiful, you feel beautiful. And also just the way these people are posed there, it also helps to first see the beauty in someone in order to project it out there. Because if I don't find you beautiful, it is very hard for me to capture a beautiful image of you in the lens. I have to firstly see the beauty in you, and then that's where I'm able to project it.
Then for your legacy as Walter Keys, what do you hope to leave as your legacy with your work?
What I hope to do is hope for people to understand that you don't have to be who you are to be seen, be heard, to be understood. You are perfect the way you are. There's a reason you're created the way you are. Whatever skin tone you are, whatever body size you have, you are the way you are. I always tell these ladies those who come to me, like, hey man, these days, man, they like babes who are small, girls who are, what? And I always tell them one thing, that I know of men who, if you are not thick, I'm telling you, they don't even look at you. And it is a fact. No, everyone has their taste and preference, and everyone has their beauties. You've just not yet stood in the right place for you to be seen by the right person. Because I am telling you for a fact that I know men who adore, for example, I know a man who adores women with stretch marks. You don't have stretch marks for her. I mean, for him, you are not a beautiful woman. And for him, it's like the first check mark for him. And you see, there are people who are there trying to fight the stretch mark. But the thing, we have to just project these people out there so that these people can see themselves, they meet. And once they meet, this person is going to be appreciated. They will stop trying to, hate themselves, but they will start to love themselves because they will have met someone who loves them the way they are.
Yeah.
You get? So for me, the legacy I want to leave behind is people need to learn to appreciate themselves, to appreciate who they are. You don't have to who you are. As a matter of fact, when you understand who you are and you start to walk in the power of who you are unstoppable. You are unstoppable. So it is about reminding people of who they are, about helping people not forget who they are, and them not trying to be something else. You're already someone. You're already created. You already have inherent power. But it can only come out if you accept firstly who you are, and if you embrace who you are, if you embrace your background, if you embrace your culture, you embrace your body, you embrace your skin type. That's the only way the fullness of who you are will be actually made manifest. Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
powerful. I'd like to delve a bit deeper into African storytelling, but more so at the global stage.
Yeah.
And would you say maybe what has the role of social media played in your work to be recognized out there?
Well, I mean, social media is, of course, very key in spreading the gospel, because I'll tell you for a fact that I have many clients coming, and they're diaspora people. They're people who were born black, but maybe they grew up in other people fly in to just come and experience. For them, they want to have the experience of feeling the true authenticity of being walking on soil, brown soil with bare feet. I've had people come in, and it has spread so much that we're even having now some white people come and they want to experience that, right? So, of course, what social media has done is to spread the word even further, to as far as even places that I don't know. There are countries that they keep. There was a time I had a friend of mine he's a fashion designer. He had gone to, I think in Western. He came back and he told me, "Man, guy, you are big there. Like, people talk about you. People use your work. People, like, even just for you to mention that even for someone just to mention that they know you, like, for them it is like a really big. So, and yet I've never even been to that country. Don't even know that country. Maybe I should plan to visit there. But social media has definitely spread the word to places that I even don't know. So there was a time someone was, I think, in a subway in London, and they took a picture. It was one of my pictures was hanging
Really?
in the subway. Like, hey, guys, here's your work, you know. And then there was another time someone was, I think, in Times Square. Like, hey, guy, here's your work. It's being displayed here. And then, like, it has been displayed in places that I don't even know. There was a time someone else was at some exhibition in, I think it was also still in Zanzibar. And when you're walking into the exhibition, the main, was the pull-up banner that they had put right here to kind of, welcome
Right.
people for the exhibition was work done. So social media in itself, it's a great tool. For me, it's done for me wonders.
Incredible.
But I mean, we have this conversation because
That's
of
true.
social media.
Wow.
So
That's so
yeah,
true. And on these international platforms, for example, I for example think of National Geographic. There have been international platforms that have taken on African storytelling, and I wonder how can African photographers be essential collaborators to international platforms like this for our own African storytelling.
well, the thing is, when it comes to international platforms, there are a lot of variables. One, in as much as social media is there, people see the work, and you also need a different kind of platform. The link there is different. You may have good presence here on social media. Today, I mean that you'll be looked for to tell story. And the second thing is the nature of story you are telling. My stories, to some people, they say they provoke, but then to others, it reconnects them back to who they are as a people. So when it comes to these international platforms, they have their what's the word
Their
to use there?
approach,
They have their approach. Yes, they have their approach
right?
to everything, and they also look at what the story you're telling. How does it contribute or
Mm,
affect their audience at the end of it? It may be a good story to you and maybe many other people, but it may be something that may affect their audience. But also on the other front, the people who are also up there, they also like the wealthy want to stay wealthy, and then the poor should stay down here. So there is a monopoly in the way things are also done up there. You can't just easily break through to such platforms.
right.
You understand? It's going to require a lot. But then we are grateful to social media. Here it is now how good you are. It's an open space. How good are you at what you're doing? How good are you at pushing what you're doing? Yeah, and there you will have a breakthrough. Even someone who is in the village, can start something on social media and they become big.
An idea like maybe a Pan-African organization for photographers maybe can help with this kind of imbalance with the monopoly or with us owning our own telling of the African stories. And maybe this kind of organization maybe can do like exhibitions or like tours throughout Africa such that we can be able to proactively put our own stories told by our own selves out there.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself, yes, is something that can, but then you see, the thing is, as Africans, we are our own enemy. We lack, in South Africa, they call it
True.
Ubuntu. We lack Ubuntu,
Yeah.
oneness, as the people. That when you see someone rising, instead of helping them continue to rise, you start to hate. And then you start to find ways of bringing them down. And when you see someone excelling beyond measure or going ahead of you, instead of going to them and telling them, hey, teach me how are you doing
Let's
this,
come
we
together and
frustrate
even
ourselves.
go
So
on a bigger scale.
exactly. And that's one of the biggest reasons as to why some of this great work failed to reach even further than that. You find yourself that you push more on an individual level rather than if you guys actually
Yeah.
came together. You get. I was listening to a certain gentleman who said that, no man is an island. And the truth of the matter is, for you to stand, your wealth is how connected you are. Now, the thing You even find a place even where your own family members don't even support the very thing you do. They're whenever there is anything happening in the family, they go like, hey, we have this event, how much for it? They gather money, they pay for it. They're supposed to pay for it, but then they want free things. Your own friends, they don't recommend you to the next gig. They're people who are literally around you. They even get those connects to Nat Geo and whatever, but they cannot see, they cannot afford to see you prosper. In as much as that is a good idea, has its limitations. It really, really has its limitations. We have tried it here and there, but it really showed much result. Because instead of us coming together as a people, if you notice, actually, wealthy families here out there, in all those families, they began as families. The thing that has kept them here is because they built a system together that you're born of this family, you have to partake of certain things in the family, you have to continue down the family business this way. Things like that. Now we don't have that. And in all this spread of this whole notion of like, you are an independent woman, you're an independent person. You can't do everything on your own. You don't need anybody. Everyone has embraced it. You see, that independence is the exact thing that is growing from building network. Right? So people are growing up more independent instead of growing up together, forming structure that build sustainable, wealth.
I think that's a real challenge because they say united we stand, but divided we fall. And I think
Yes.
in as much as there is that challenge, I'm very hopeful because I've seen, I think, something like the Walter exhibition. I think it was like a second edition or something like that. And I think initiatives like this could be a real beginning to this kind of collaboration. But I'll just turn to our viewers a bit who are watching. Comment or write, or we would like to hear from you on this particular point. Let us know in the comment section below what you think of an idea like that about a Pan-African organization. And if you know of any museums or galleries from your country that are really doing a very good job with this, let us make the comment section a place where we can be able to come together and discuss and see a way forward. So we're really wanting to hear from you. Let us know what you think about collaboration between different photographers from different parts of Africa. We would like to share a special message from our international sponsors, Neon Ghosts. Born from a passion for storytelling, Neon Ghosts is dedicated to capturing the essence of culture, music, and creativity. They've featured incredible international talent like Jason Mraz, OMD, and Travis, and celebrated our own unique African talent, including Chiwanuka, Neka, Yakuto, and John Mook, showcasing the vibrancy and diversity of the globe. Neon Ghost believes in the transformative power of storytelling, whether through the lens of a photographer, the words of a journalist, or the rhythm of a musician. They consistently deliver dynamic content about pop culture, music, and the arts, collaborating with artists worldwide. If you are passionate about discovering music and cultural stories, then visit Neon Ghosts at neon-ghosts.de. That's neon-ghosts.de. Okay, speaking of the work that you've done, Walter, I think you mentioned that you had been to a few countries. Which countries have you made photo shoots in, or which countries would you consider wanting to do a photo shoot?
Countries. What countries have I been in? I'm not very sure I can mention all the countries because quite many, because everywhere around Africa, yeah. But there are countries I do want to go to, do some work there because of their love, what they have in terms of their ethnicity. Countries I'm looking forward to going to that I haven't. I really want to go to Ghana, want to go to Cameroon, want to go to Benin, and Togo. Those 4 I'm really looking forward to going to those.
Interesting. Then we shall be looking forward to the work that you do there. So I'd
Absolutely.
like to delve a bit deeper into the professional insights of photography and the technical aspects about this art. And I like to start with a bit of a passing comment that I got from a friend of mine who is also a photographer. And he said something about that photographers have a lot of tricks when they're taking a picture, like they can lie flat on the floor, or like they have to climb high or bend over, or, to get this angle, What's maybe the craziest thing that you've had to do to get the right perspective?
The craziest thing I've had to do, I think, on a roof of a house, was I wanted to shoot an aerial perspective. The person wanted to shoot directly from
Right.
above them. Yeah. So I look around and I'm seeing nothing. So I had to literally climb on top of a roof of a house. And someone had to hold me from behind so that I don't sleep and, fall. So that's the craziest thing I've had to do.
That's very
Yeah.
interesting. And I think you mentioned something similar. You started out with a camera that was slow. And would you say that someone with a bad camera can take a good picture? Like, how important is the quality of the equipment that you have? Or can someone be able to make good art and good photography with minimal equipment?
You see, when we're in school, we were told that not the tool, but then to a certain degree, the tool also becomes a limitation, right? If you have a terrible camera and you're really, really good at photography, you can get by. You really, really can get by. You'll find your way around. But then imagine you're really, really good and you also have a really good. We need to stop buying into the notion of it doesn't matter the camera, as long as you're good, you can get good work. No, we need to stop buying into that. We need to actually start investing into good equipment. Definitely one who has, if 2 people are good and one has a bad camera and one has a good camera, the one with a bad camera does not even understand
That makes
however
so
good
much
they are.
sense.
So I'm of the notion that if you're good, also invest in your equipment. Have very good equipment, because then if you're good and you have good equipment, then your work is definitely
It's about excellence.
Yes, exactly.
And now with this equipment, the phones nowadays can do just about anything. Someone can take a picture and edit. There is settings and all that. Is it still so important to get this knowledge about photography today with the advancements in technology?
Yeah, the truth of the matter is apps have come up that make everything easy in terms of editing and everything. Then you see, the question is going to be, what makes you different? What makes you a photographer? Is now that's where we get back to the roots of photography: composition, lighting, those basics that we, to that. Yes, even if we both have really good phones, if you take a picture, a photographer takes a picture, there should be a difference. Our picture
And
should
what
not be the same.
separates a good photographer from a great photographer?
What separates? Interestingly, my opinion on that is not even their quality of work.
What is it?
Good photographer from a great photographer. A great photographer is one who has longevity. Good photographer is one who has good work.
That's it.
That's it. By longevity, by longevity, I mean you have good relationships with your clients, that your ability to maintain relations with people, your work ethic, ability to maintain relationships, then also having a unique identity to photography. A photographer is one who can literally do everything. If it's a wedding, they'll show up, they'll give you good work. The production, they'll show up. The birthday party, they'll show up, and you'll have good work. But then they don't have identity. They don't know them for anything. They're good. And they're jacks of all trades, but masters of none. So a great photographer is one who has identity.
Like when someone sees the picture, they know this is the Melanin King. And you talk about
Yes.
having those working relationships. And I wonder, I think, excuse me, I think I read somewhere that like 70% of your models are female. And when it comes to how you work with these models and making them comfortable, is it just as important as the skill for taking the pictures?
Absolutely. The truth of the matter is, if one is not comfortable working with you, someone is not comfortable in their skin, you're most likely not going to get the best results. And because, interestingly, the one thing that can never hide in a photo is one's emotion. It just can't hide. Even when you tell someone to be happy and they're not happy, they will still not, they may smile and you will still see that this smile was fake. You get. So how you them, the process of behind the scenes determines the result. Yeah.
Awesome. And can you share your process behind for preparing for a shoot? Maybe how you pick your gear depending on a project or the mindset you're in, like you've said, or do you do any research?
So as an individual, ideas drop literally on the go. Like there was a time I was driving, I was heading to work. Then was there on the side there was this boda guy who stopped. He got the client off the boda, and then there is that thing that they do when they're out of fuel. They kind of flip,
Yeah.
the bike in such a way that it's like trying to drain the little fuel that is there, to drain it into the, I don't know, into the fuel pump or something. When I looked at that, I laughed, and for me it was funny. Then in my head, I'm like, but this is something that actually happens here in Uganda. It's like a normal thing. Why don't I tell a story around this? And then I remember I got this model, and I walked them through how I wanted to do the story and everything. So, and they're like, oh, great, great, we can actually do that. Then I had to look for the boda guy who's going to actually do the parts. Lucky for me, where my studio is right outside, across the road, there's a boda stage. So I go to one of the guys, I'm like, hey guy, I have this idea, I want you to be a part of the show. He's like, oh cool man, why don't we do it? Yeah, so D-Day comes, and then I'd collaborated on that project with a certain designer. So I briefed them, and they were like, okay, let's do that. Let's do that. So they came up with a beat and everything. So yeah, when the D-Day came, the makeup artist came through, the designer came through, called my border guy. I'm like, are you all set? He's like, guy, I'm set. Let us do this thing. So we had to find a street that was convenient for what we wanted to do. So which we found, not very far from here. And yeah, we did that story. It's actually somewhere on it's on my Instagram, and I think it's also my TikTok. It was an interesting story. So for me, ideas really come on the go. I can just be there and I'm seated there, and then I see something. And I'm like, this would be a good thing. Because I like to tell stories that are relatable, something that I look at and they go like, oh, that's actually something I see every day. And then they go like, how did I actually think of this? Or it makes them laugh. It excites them.
And I'm sure you've undoubtedly faced challenges. Have you maybe had a time where you took a picture and you thought this picture is great, but maybe the client didn't see the greatness of it? How do you handle setbacks like this or rejection?
Well, I mean, those have come up on like very, very, very many fronts.
Even for Walter,
And
the Melanin King.
yeah, my friends. First of all, there's stuff that you can do that is highly
Yeah.
controversial, right? Now we live in a community that is not liberal to start with, so you're going to face challenges both from a social perspective in terms of the culture, and then also you're going to face challenges from the religious circles. So there was this really, really amazing project I did with this client of mine, and apparently the mom was like leader in church, something like that. So now the challenge is that my projects always like go quite
Right.
viral, right? So while she was there, it is her own mom who came and is like, what is this I'm seeing here? You take these things away from the internet. in my head. I beat it and I'm like, yeah, you see, it has already been shared. And it has been reshared to you. There's nothing you're going to do now about it. Even if I remove the post, people already have.
I've already seen it.
Initially, the person comes when they know what they're doing. But then most of the times, it is the people around them that cause them to doubt, cause them to have a change in mind. They come when they know what they're doing. They love everything that they're doing. You set up a shoot, you do it. You even collaborate them in the post. They accept, and then lo and behold, some auntie of yours comes and is like, "How are you going to get married? Which man will accept you in your nakedness already?" So stuff like that happens. It happens all the time. But usually, what we do nowadays is we try to we now find so that to kind of avoid that. Because I mean, you would have put in a lot of work. You've collaborated. All these people are part of this project. They're supposed to be collaborated on this. Not just wake up because your village people woke up and they were not happy about it. You want to come and bring the village on the internet. No, that's now no longer acceptable.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
imagine that it must be really a lot of stories that go on in these photo shoots.
Yeah.
And then how do you stay inspired when you're creatively blocked or maybe you have a burnout?
I think you mostly feed off the energy of the people who actually recognize your work, people who actually come up to you and tell you you are doing an incredible, you're doing our generation. And my biggest cheerleader and the person who actually pushes me to continue working is my wife. Every day she does her best to at least write me a message or at least inspire me. Even when, because there are days projects, though, days that just kind of tells you, no, this is not what I wanted. Work is, then you go back. But, we sat down, we thought this thing through, I thought we were on the stage. So there are those days. But then, yeah, so she comes through and she's like, yay, we are still at this. And also for like interviews like this, share, you know, share my mind on some things, to just talk to people and them listen. It gives you back that vibe, and also being invited on events, speak to workshops, all those things. It inspires you to know that there are lots of people that look at people. And even these times when you've gone maybe to a party and run into these people who go like fire and healthy and things like that. So those are the kind of feed off.
All right. Speaking of creativity, now there is AI, which has joined the chat of photography. Would you still advise a photographer who is starting out that, they can get into this industry?
You see, AI is useless to you if you don't know what you're doing. It's very useless to you if you don't know what you're doing. As an artist, AI will work for you better because then you understand what you want. You understand what you want to create. The only thing AI does is to basically get your mind and project it. Now, if you have nothing in your mind, then it is still useless for you to have. Yeah. So we are in the 21st century, and of course, it has been helpful to have AI. It has helped cut back on the amount of time we used to spend while editing and working on pictures and everything, and even the videos. So it's a very helpful tool, but it works for you when you know what you do. If you don't know what you're doing, then you're just going to be like everyone. Just throw in a picture and then allow it to do for you, to think for you. So for people who are not or whatever, that works for them well. But then if you're an artist, it will work for you even better. Good, really good. There are tools that have come up and they are really aiding our work, and they've made our work so easy. That's very good.
Interesting. And what's maybe the one mistake that you see beginner photographers make that they can avoid, and how can they avoid it?
The one mistake photographers do is There are like two mistakes photographers do. One, they don't build relations with their clients. Second, most creatives they don't have knowledge on business. Most of them, they have no knowledge on business. So they make impulsive decisions. They buy all, because the new cameras come out, they want to buy. So and so has this lens. They also think it will work for them, right? So most of them lack guidance in terms of finances. And then the other is that they don't know how to maintain relationships. One small argument with a client or one failed project, they quickly move on. They go like, I know we have that, it's a big market. I'll get some, which for me I think is a mistake. I feel like one client and you understand their needs, their wants, then for every other time they have an opportunity, they're definitely going to call on to you because now you're the person who understands them fully well. I feel like those are the two mistakes that, yeah. How can they make them better? Is when it comes to finances, I feel they all need like sort of a financial controller, someone who understands money more than them, someone who's going to tell them, I know you want this, but it's not very urgent right now. First, use what you have, create with what you have. Later stage, we can invest in it. Someone who's just going to be there to, yeah, because creatives lack that. They do make the money, but they don't know how to. They don't have saving skills. They don't have planning skills for it. So if they can get an accountant or can get a wife. Those two are helpful. Yeah.
I like that. Awesome.
Yeah.
We are coming to the end of the interview, and I just have one last question for you, the Melanin King. What are you working on currently that's exciting? What can our viewers watch out for from the Melanin King?
I'm planning another exhibition. It has been a bit of a while. So I am planning another exhibition this year. This year I want to have another exhibition. Yeah, to get back, to gather again to my people, to talk to my people, show them some new projects. Yeah, that is the one thing this year that people should look out for. I'm planning another exhibition.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the work that you do for capturing the African beauty and the heritage and the culture. Your work is truly transformative. Thank you so much, Walter. In the attempt to spread and hear our own African cultures, please go ahead and say farewell in your language.
Bannange tubeeyanziza nnyo ja okubeera ku show yaffe no mwebale nnyo kujja mannya nsigadde Walter Melanin King wammwe taakola ebifaananyi by'abaana bakyasinze okunyirira wano mu Uganda wano mwebale nnyo kubeerawo mwebale kujja. Yeah, what I've just said in my language is thank you everyone who has tuned in to watch. Walter here, Melanin King, CEO of the brand Walter Photography, and I'm going to continue shooting and showcasing those beautiful ladies, a beautiful one, black, beautiful ladies with thickness of and everything. You guys, yes, we are still at it. We are still, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Walter. If you enjoyed today's episode and are passionate about African excellence and transformative leadership, then you are in for more. Be sure to check out this video here and our next episode where we dive deeper into African innovative solutions. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with someone that finds value in these stories. And finally, we want to hear from you. Comment below a guest that you would like us to feature or a subject that you are curious about. Your ideas fuel our mission, and your voices matter in shaping the conversations that we bring to life. Stay curious, stay inspired, and I'll catch you here next time on The Roar.